We want to recognize the outstanding passion and commitment to accept our challenge for this session and to take it to the next level. Known for her big ideas and love of simple design, she's all about ensuring everything she crafts serves a purpose. She's customer focused, appreciating the audience's needs to maximize impact. With that in mind, this unique experience has been crafted especially for you. It's time to prepare for your pitch and deal with objections about price and how long things take. Participants, have your poll fingers ready for this choose your own adventure experience, welcoming Nicole White and branching scenario buddy Melissa Bradshaw.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Oh, it's very unnerving not being able to see anyone. We'll just talk to each other and we'll just pretend there's nothing happening here. Cool. Keeping to time. All right, we can do this. All right, so I'm Nick and this is Mel. I'm a learning designer. Mel is a learning designer. And I think while many of us actually have learning designer in our title, we do spend a large part of our day basically helping people move from one position to the next. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to help you find the inner little salesperson that resides within all of us, somewhere kind of left of the appendix. I believe that salesperson is located. So this is a choose your own adventure style role play, and it's nearly killed us. So let that be known. Mel is going to play the role of the customer or the stakeholder. So you all have them picture someone who's maybe a little bit difficult, has all the questions maybe that you might want to answer, and just project that person onto Mel. Sorry, Mel. I'm going to play the role of Yol. It's my biggest role yet, I think.
It is.
So I am sorry if you thought that was maybe going to be played by George Clooney or Sandra Bullock. You got me. No worries. So Mel will be throwing out some common challenges that she faces as a stakeholder. And what I'm going to be doing is trying to handle these objections with you guys using the poll to kind of zig and zag us all over the place a little bit. And we're going to hopefully at the end find a little place of compromise for the learner, the customer, and for you as a designer as well. So choose your own adventure is going to be in 4 stages. Throughout each scene, you're going to have the opportunity to actually make a decision to divert the path. So you're in control of which direction we actually take. Now, I am a bit of a control freak. So if you do choose unwisely, we are going to debrief and I'm going to get us back on track so that we can hopefully get a nice successful end point to this as well. So at the end of each stage, Mel and I will break character. It feels so professional. Prepare for an Emmy-worthy performance here as well. It's going to be great. And we'll debrief at the end of each stage as well, just to kind of bring out some of those key points. Feel free to use the comments for the chat for comments. Just chat with each other. I feel like there's so many things happening here. I'm probably not going to see them anyway, and neither is Mel. But anything that resonates with you or anything like that, have a chat to each other about it. Hopefully there's at least one thing in there. Otherwise, no, it hasn't been a waste of time. It's been fun.
No, good.
At the end, there will be 10 minutes for questions, hopefully, if I keep speaking this fast. So there might be a situation that you want us to just kind of freestyle and help you solve, or there may be something where you maybe think we took the easy path. Feel free to test us on that as well. We're always happy to do that. So without further ado, as usual, I've written far too much in this script. And so this really does need to move at the pace of a Gilmore Girls episode. Mel, should we get started?
Let's go.
All right. The scene is Mel has requested a meeting with someone from the learning team to discuss an e-learning module that she'd like developed. The brief is an existing face-to-face induction that needs to be digital. And action.
Hi, Nick.
Oh, hi, Mel. How's your cross stitch going?
Yeah, good. I just finished a life-size likeness of Matt Damon.
Solid effort. I hear you've now got some time to look at refreshing that employee induction of yours.
I sure do. I need a break before I start on Ben Affleck. I hear that guy's a lot of work.
Indeed. Paul, your call. What happens next?
I like that.
Okay, everybody. So you've got some choices here. Nicole, what happens next? What were you thinking of making? What would you like to achieve with the revamp? Your choice. Oh, it's an easy winner here, ladies, at the moment.
Oh,
Oh.
going easy on us or no?
I like how we can't see it actually.
I know.
Okay, so the choice that's in a massive lead is revamp.
Oh, I'm proud of you guys. Brilliant. Okay, back into it. Mel, why are you looking at refreshing the induction?
We've got a great face-to-face induction that gets rave reviews on the smiley sheets.
Paul, your call. What happens next? No, it's just gold.
I love it.
Should we make
Okay,
it?
so you guys have the choice of fantastic, let's take it online, or can you tell me more about the existing? My goodness, guys, there is a firm leader here. They want to know more about the existing.
Nice. All right. Mel. Okay, so why are you thinking of actually taking the face-to-face online?
Honestly, great reviews on the day, but new employees don't seem to overall be happy.
Okay, interesting. Do you have any theories why that is?
I have more than that. I have data. On a scale of 1 to 5, we're scoring 2s and 3s for satisfaction from staff employed under 3 months.
Okay, and did everyone attend the induction who actually took part in that survey?
No, the face-to-face session can only be run every other month due to the availability of our facilitator. So not everyone would have attended.
Okay, and what experience did the rest of the new starters have who didn't attend that session?
Their manager is given a PowerPoint pack to run through. They then get booked into the next session the next month. They also get a buddy too. Everyone does.
Okay, great. Paul, your call. What happens next?
Okay, so you've got, so an online module is sounding like a good solution, or okay, what do you think needs to change in this? And again, ladies, we've got a firm favourite right now, 100%.
Oh.
What do you think needs to change in this?
I think we've got
I know you know.
We've got a bunch of little do-gooders here, I think.
I know.
All right. The audience wants. Yes. Okay. So Mel, explain to me what you think falls short in the current experience.
Well, we can't keep having them miss out on the session and waiting a month or two. It's a pretty big strain on the manager and not a great experience for a new starter, right? Mm-hmm. We need an online module so that they all have the same experience wherever it's needed.
All right. So is it just the consistency in the experience that's important, or is there anything else that you're looking to achieve?
Well, of course, consistency is important, but running the face-to-face sessions is also taking its toll on our facilitator. Jeff, one guy, one person, and he works part-time. It would be good to see a little bit more money in our budget as well for other projects.
Okay, Jeff's a good guy. So you're after some cost savings and a better experience for your learners, and maybe give poor old Jeff a bit of a break from traveling around so much, and expand his horizons out a little bit. Sounds good. So in terms of the change that you want to see, is there anything measurable there that you could look at?
Well, we know how much the face-to-face session currently costs to run, so we could measure that for cost saving. We'd also expect, ideally, the employee satisfaction rating to go up for new starters. And you know what? Jeff might stop glaring at me across the partition too. Is that measurable?
I feel if not measurable, it's important. So, Paul, your call. What happens next?
Okay, so you've got choices, guys. Let's get started on this module. Or how could you tell if you have been successful? Oh, there is a firm favourite here. Okay, so it looks like the second option. How could you tell if you have been successful?
Excellent. All right, we're definitely going to have time for questions. Stop taking our critical path, people. All right. Mel, those are all great measures, including Jeff. Let's get more specific though. How much was the face-to-face to set up and how much does it actually cost to run? Just a ballpark.
Well, it's a full day session recreated internally. Took us about 6 weeks to get all the materials created, ready to go. So let's say 10,000.
Okay, and what does it cost to run?
A facilitator for 1 full day, plus flights and accommodation. Then you hire catering, printing costs. Each one would maybe be then 10,000 again, times 6 for the year.
Okay, so that's about 70K in your first year and then 60,000 in your second year. I just know that off the top of my head. That's a decent investment.
Yeah, our new starters are pretty important to us. When they start, they'll get a tote bag, some company merch, drink bottle, that kind of stuff. They love it.
Nice. Okay, so let's put a different number on this. If you had to rate this project from 1 to 10 in terms of how important it is for the business, what would you say? Paul, your call. What happens next?
Okay, everyone. So you have to vote from 1 to 10. Let's see how important it is for the business. What would you say?
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep.
Okay, so it's about an 8 right now that's in the lead.
Right.
Okay.
We'll take it.
We're happy with that. We won't negotiate. An 8 sounds good. We're happy with that. Great. And scene. Oh,
Can't see anything, Nick.
yeah, no one can see anything. We actually need these glasses. They're not just
We are flying by the seat of our
fabricated.
pants.
All right. So we've just completed, oh God, we've just completed stage 1, which I like to call, you don't know anything yet, and it's refreshingly freeing. So just sit back and enjoy and listen to it. I'm just going to go through a couple of points from that particular stage that you might want to kind of use the chat as well to pop your own reflections in there. But what we're doing is we're actually establishing if there's a real world problem to be solved. And we're also seeing how important it is. So we haven't dealt with that number yet. I have that number here. That'll come up again later. Hopefully, who knows? It's a choose your own adventure. We're also establishing if the outcomes can be measured to see if they can be successful. So obviously a lot of the time we have completion in a learning management system. And this is actually a really good one because we've got customer satisfaction ratings, which we can easily see if there's going to be a difference there. And a budget, obviously a little bit more on the L&D back pocket, never hurt anyone. Now, what we're doing as well is we're also starting to build a case for change that you're basically going to be able to hang your ideas off later. So we're definitely not talking about solutions at the moment. It can be very difficult. We're also not saying no to the e-learning module that Mel has clearly requested at the beginning, or whatever your stakeholder or customer might be requesting. We're not saying no to that, but we are doing some gentle steering and we're asking lots of questions along the way to help them get to where they need to be. Oh yeah, you may have seen your mum using this technique. It's highly suggestive, and your mum will generally use this technique to get someone to go antiquing with her on the weekend. So you can also, your mum's probably got some good tips as well. Mel, how did you feel in that stage?
I actually felt kind of, important. No one has listened to me this intently for a while, Nick.
All right, noted. Mel, ready for stage 2? Just remember, there's 4. I know that you're probably thinking about lunch, but stop it. Just focus. All right. And action. Okay, Mel, let's talk through some of your requirements to meet these goals. Happier new starters and more dollars in your budget for the year.
I did mention at the start, we're expecting an e-learning module. We know we can get reach with this. No more people missing out.
Paul, your call. What happens next?
Okay, everyone, so you've got another choice here. So go ahead and choose which one you'd like. Oh. I think they want the choice. There might be more in this. Good choice.
Dig damn you. They want me to Dig, Demi?
Yeah.
Is that our final response? Okay, I'm doing it. All right. Is there anyone else involved in the induction process other than the new starter, Mel?
Well, there's their people leader, their new team, and they get assigned a buddy as well.
Okay. So the audience might be a little bit more broad than we first defined. They might need some support too.
Yeah, that's true. The buddies are generally high performers, and the new starters struggle to get time with them.
Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about what your learners need then.
Gosh, what new starters need? Values, vision, mission, strategic pillars, all the systems they have to use, compliance and policies, the org structure. Nick, it's huge.
So you've mentioned a few times that you've considered a module, an online module. How long do you think the e-learning module would have to be to cover all of that?
Okay, hours? No, okay, days worth of training.
And Mel, what sort of experience do you think that would be for your learners?
Well, I can tell you, just like the one from my last company and the one before that, painful.
Yeah. All right. So let's have a look at that. Let's say they do need to know all of those things, and they probably do, right? That's not in question. What do you think they need to know? Do you think they need to know everything up front?
Yeah, you're right. It's probably multiple e-learning modules.
Poll, your call. What happens next?
Okay, guys, see, we've got another choice here. Now you're getting there. Let's look at this a different way. They're wanting a different way, Nicole.
Yep.
Cool. Nice. You guys are snappy.
Nice.
All right. Mel, let's look at what they need to know and do just on day one to get started.
Okay. Day one is all about getting started and set up in the systems, understanding a little bit more about the organization and who we are, and, where the best coffee/tea is as well.
Inclusive. I like it. Okay. And remember, we spoke about others involved as well. Who else should be involved in day one?
The new starter, definitely the manager and the buddy, and you know what, maybe their new teammates as well.
Okay, so let's look at this from a different angle. When would they need to use maybe the HR system first?
Okay, I wouldn't say until maybe week 2. We're on a fortnightly payroll. They would need to know how to access their payslip, for example.
Yeah, and who else would be involved there?
People leader definitely would be helpful. They might even had a conversation over coffee with them prior to letting them know about their fortnightly pay and things like that.
Yep. And just taking this just a little step further, the system seems like they may not use it frequently. Do you expect that they'll remember everything that they need from the very first run of this?
Oh no, they may not need to go back there until they need to claim for, expenses or request leave.
Yeah, okay. All right, so just a slightly different tangent here. Tell me about some of the existing technologies that your people are using on a day-to-day.
We have our LMS. Oh, your call. What happens next?
Okay, so we've got another poll here. So which one will you choose?
Let me use any of my singers.
They want to delve deeper, Nicole.
Spill the tea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kat. All right, let's spill the tea. Mel, what else do your people use naturally in their day-to-day workflow in terms of technology?
Microsoft Teams, SharePoint. We have a subscription to an external learning catalog. Everyone's got a laptop and a phone. And they also naturally leverage each other, people talking to each other.
In this day and age. All right, so we're in the early stages, but this is what I'm hearing. We need a solution, or we need to devise a solution that helps provide support for new starters, their buddies, and their people leader. So we're looking at a broader audience group here. We need something that's going to allow for learners to be inducted over time. That's a lot of information that you've just said, and dumping that on someone in the first day or week or even month can be quite a lot, especially if they're not going to use it straight away. So they don't need to know everything up front, and there's something kind of relaxing about that. We need something that provides a seamless pathway with prompts and guidance to information, people, and learning opportunities as they need it. So we'll need to understand a little bit more about how they work and how they get inducted. And possibly also something that we can explore is something social that allows new starters to access each other and a broader network of their peers so that they can kind of induct that way as well. Does a module still sound like it will work for that?
No, I guess not. I mean, it might be part of the solution, but it sounds like there's a lot more to think about.
Yeah, I agree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away all of this information that we've put together here, and I'm going to send you a summary of what we've spoken about today for your records. I'm also going to use that information to go back and actually work with the team to come up with some ideas that will actually meet those needs. So why don't we meet again in a week to discuss?
Sounds good.
And scene. All right. This wasn't the best advice. We should have done the hats.
No, I like it.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Like it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All
All right. Okay. So what we've done is we've just completed stage 2. And we like to call stage 2 setting yourself up for the design for the change that you want to see and measure. So a couple of quick points for that particular section, just to debrief. So you'll notice what we're doing is we're digging deeper, and you obviously wanted that. You do that naturally. We can see that from your choices. So we're trying to understand the audience and what they need a little bit more. Dig as deep as you need to. Uncovering those audience groups. So like basically just being able to kind of support the learner is one thing, but basically being able to kind of support the people leader, even the team to some extent, and the buddy, especially if they're high performance, is also a good call. Now, the stakeholder will actually appreciate being involved in the process and talking about something that they're actually passionate about as well. Their work, their people, the project is what they love. It will also take the focus off them trying to move forward a solution too quickly as well. They basically just keep them in their area of expertise, and they'll be happy and comfy there as well. Keep building the case is what's been happening in this stage as well. It's gradual and you have to keep at it. We're still not talking about an actual solution, and we really shouldn't be at this particular stage. Even when I did that little summary and synopsis at the end for Mel, we're essentially looking at it from the perspective of the solution that we come back to you with, or some ideas that we come back to you with, are going to meet these needs. So we're kind of coming to agreement around what needs to be achieved. We're going to build a solid foundation so that we can find out, so that basically what we can do is we can find out who the audience is, what they need to know and do, when they need it, and who supports them to succeed. So we're going to layer that in. Mel, how did you feel? Stakeholder Mel, how did you feel at that stage?
I felt like things were coming together, and I actually felt more comfortable sharing because we were focusing on my area of expertise.
Okay, cool. All right, let's keep going. We need a time lapse. Oh, is it
Costume change.
Thursday already? What?
This week has flown by.
It's gone.
Oh my.
Great guns. And action. Oh, I nearly poked myself in the eye with my glasses there. Oh, it's you.
Okay. Wow. These are the best ideas I've ever heard.
Thank you. I wrote that line specifically for you, Mel. Great. So we agree that we need to provide some things up front and then pace out the new starter experience with ongoing support for new starters, people leaders, and their buddies. It doesn't hurt to have a little repetition.
Okay. So what's next?
The next step is mapping out the new starter journey. So what we need to do is we need to plot out what they need to know and do. So we've almost got like a little layer there with the learner themselves, what they need to do and know and when. And then what we can do is we can layer in that buddy experience and also that people leader experience to see where they're involved in that process and where they might need support. And then what we can do is we can then go back and revisit some of those technologies that you've listed out to me as well. And we can determine what's the best vehicle for each of those points. It's kind of like making a croissant, lots of kneading and folding and layering.
Nick, you're making me hungry.
We all are, Mel. We got the lunch session. So a project like this from start to finish is going to take about 12 weeks minimum. How long until your planned rollout? Poll, your call. What happens next?
Okay, so how long until your planned rollout? 12 weeks or 6 weeks? Oh, they're making it difficult for you, Nicole.
That's what I like to hear.
6 weeks. It is.
Why I order.
All right. Okay. Well, we only have 6 weeks.
Okay. So when we last spoke, you mentioned that this was a high impact project. You gave it a score of approximately 8. Tell me a bit more about what's actually driving this date.
There's a big intake of new employees starting in about 6 weeks. Also, one executive had a weird prophecy about a pandemic.
Okay, that's not weird at all. Let's unpack the timeline though and put together a plan. How many people will need to review this?
We'll definitely need to go through my manager, the SMEs, and probably legal.
And how long do they each need?
They're pretty busy. Legal alone would probably take a week, and the SMEs are working on multiple projects as well.
Yep. Okay, so there's potentially 2 to 3 weeks there just in reviews.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay, so let's talk about this process. For a high impact project like this, we generally need to consult with your SMEs first, and we need to map out that journey. It's probably about 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's existing content, but it hasn't really been looked at for a while.
Okay, and this is a move from pure face-to-face to include digital. So we'll also need to have a look at the program design of this as well. Paul, your call. What happens next?
Okay, guys, so your call. What happens next? No, it can stay the same. It has a good rating. Well, that makes sense. Oh, it's jumping around.
Ooh.
That makes sense, Nicole.
Okay. No one's going to let us practice our rewind. This is really. I'm gonna do a leading one on the next one. Okay, so the program design will take about a week or 2. Where are we up to?
That's about 4 to 6 weeks already.
That's right. And we still need to look at the curation we still need to look at the curation of existing materials and creation of anything new that we need to make as well.
Nick, what am I supposed to tell my stakeholders?
I'm glad you asked. The good news is we're going to start with a journey map and a program design, which is basically going to be a plan for their entire journey. So we don't have to have everything completed in 6 months. We don't have everything completed in 6 weeks, but we can design to ensure that your new starters, their buddy, and the people leader have what they need for day 1 and possibly even a little bit of week 1 as well, depending on where we go. So we don't have to make everything from scratch either. You mentioned that you've got good pieces and you've got some off-the-shelf platform as well to leverage. Paul, your call. What happens next? I feel like
All right, so your call. What happens next? We can't give them something half-baked? Well, that sounds reasonable.
It's quite
Oh, there's a firm leader here. We can't give them something half-baked.
Oh, yay. Oh, I'm so excited. All right.
Nick, these are professionals, not test subjects.
Right. That was the wrong choice, people. No, I'm kidding. No, it was though. You can be upfront with your learners. So tell them that they're going to be part of a new induction. This is the good part of this, right? We can get them excited about what they're actually testing. So their feedback will help shape a new induction. And if you let your learners actually know that, hey, I'm going to be involved in something that's going to shape the induction process for the next cohort, that's actually kind of exciting for them. It also gives you an opportunity as well to actually just roll out week 1 and actually create in the project itself, get some feedback, make some tweaks, and actually create something that some feedback there for subsequent weeks to make those better as well. So I think we need to rewind. Okay, cool. So I think you meant, guys, that sounds reasonable. Now, the solution itself could end up being quite fast to develop once the overall program design is in place, depending on the solution chosen. We can design specifically for this need.
Perfect. There's also an expectation that we will use Storyline, and it all needs to be tracked in the LMS though.
Okay. And what do you think is driving those decisions?
I think it's important that we use existing licenses for cost benefits and ease for updates. In terms of LMS, we need to track that people have completed it.
Okay. Okay. I know. How did that happen? We were supposed to go Gilmore Girls speed.
I know.
All right. And okay, let's broaden our view of what digital learning can be. Do you remember when we spoke about the other technologies that you have? Is there any other additional cost in leveraging SharePoint or Teams, for example?
No.
Okay. And are there any blockers in updating that content?
No, it's probably easier to update than a module.
Okay. And how often do people go back to the content on your LMS?
Well, that's the actual data we have, and once, and it's often reluctant.
So what we're looking for here is a blend. We spoke about the learner needing ongoing support, so that doesn't really make sense to have everything sit in the LMS, right?
No.
And you've mentioned updating information is easier outside of the LMS.
Yep.
Okay, so part of our program design will consider what needs to sit on the LMS and what makes more sense to sit outside of it for ease of access and updates longer term.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, so you'd agree that we've moved from needing one online module for new starters to needing a program that supports learners over time using existing technologies and content available and includes support for buddies and people leaders.
Yeah, it's a new starter experience, like a little ecosystem.
Right. And scene. Oh my God, I have to go really fast through these points. This is super polished. All right, I'm going to super fast through this debrief. So what's something, timeframes? This is the golden part out of this. I feel like every time there is someone who wants something really, really tight in a period of time, the best possible thing that you can do is basically sit them down and work through the time it actually takes on both sides, so that what you're actually doing is you're finding a mutual benefit. So you can see it's on paper how long things are actually taking both sides. And then obviously gently explaining to people that you're not a time lord and you can't actually change that. Okay, how did you feel at the end of this stage?
Pretty good. I hadn't really thought about updates or maintenance, and something that's easy for me to update makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, let's bring it home. The last stage is the shortest one. So we'll talk like double speed. Where are my glasses? All right, prop down and action. Oh no, we did have a poll. Oh, let's do it anyway. Poll, no, wait.
No,
Nick,
so,
no, that's me.
Yeah.
So Mel, tell me about your expected spend on this.
Poll.
Poll, your call. What happens next?
10K or 30K?
Okay, so you've got tell me about your expected spend on this. 10,000 or 30,000?
Yes.
Oh, what a bunch of cheapskates. What a bunch of cheapskates. 10,000.
All right. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we have devised a budget based on one module. So we have 10K, Nick.
Okay, $10,000. Do you think that matches everything that we've just spoken about? Is it possible that we need to reset our rating?
No, it's still definitely a high priority for us. I just don't think the executive team understands the investment required.
Okay, well, I think what we have to do is we need to review this as a bigger picture and think about what we can do now with the 10K to get started so that we can meet that 6 weeks and start to see some results that we can actually use to help develop a case for subsequent phases. Let's go back and see what happens if we do have a little bit more to play with. So real quick, if it was 30K, rewind.
We've got $30,000 approved.
Wow. I wish it was that easy. Based on what we've been talking about, do you think that sounds like a viable investment for this program?
I'm not sure how much something like this costs. We've got 20 new starters landing in 6 weeks. Do not make me do maths.
I'm going to. Let's keep this simple though. You said your last investment in the face-to-face was 70K for setup, 6 sessions in the first year.
Yeah, 20 people per session, 120 per year. That's about $583 per head for the first year.
That's some good maths without a calculator, Mel. Never doubt yourself again. So if we're talking about the same budget for this program with like a 2-year shelf life, I'm getting about $291 per head over those 2 years. So that's a pretty good saving. And you also might have some wiggle room to add in some of that social stuff that we spoke about before as well. You know, some global team connections, some little local events, those sorts of things.
Yeah. Okay.
So earlier you said your goals were to save some dollars for your L&D budget and provide a better new starter experience. Does this feel like we're on the right path for you?
Well, let's see. New starters that don't have to wait 2 months for the orientation and some extra budget to play with in the year. Sounds pretty tight.
Okay. And do you feel like you have a case to request more funds, if not now, eventually?
I think so.
Great. Well, let's work together and build a business case. We can flesh out a minimum viable product to collect data on the experience from your first cohort, and we can use that to reinforce your business case.
Hey, I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions still, but I appreciate your support on this.
And scene.
Thank you.
All right, so that was the end of stage 4. And just real quick, the name of this stage is basically just assume that most people are good and will always come away with a positive outcome to support them. So you can see the difference between even having 10,000 and 30,000 for a potentially much larger program. We haven't at any point just said bugger off. It's how do you actually work with them, with what they actually have, so that you can actually build that case for more and working with them. How did you feel at the end of that stage?
I felt pretty supported. Even when I didn't have enough funds for a full project, I wasn't left on my own to figure it out. Felt like a partnership.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Now I am very conscious of time. I think we've eaten in. Did we eat into our question time? I think we might have. It was our wonderful acting.
But yeah, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Thank you so much, Nicole and Mel. That was incredible. Speaking on behalf of the audience has just been going crazy in the chat saying like, this is so amazing, this interactive experience. So thank you. I'm going to move quickly so we can get through as many questions as we can. So the first question is from Christina. She said, there are clients who know what they don't like, but can't articulate what they want or like. What would you do with this scenario?
Ooh, that is a good one. And it is actually something that I think comes up quite a lot. I think we're finding more and more, and especially because there's a very traditional sense of working in, like as learning designers, we tend to kind of do high-level designs in a Word document. We tend to do storyboards in a Word document. We tend to do all of these sorts of things. And we still do that to some extent, and we need to have those things. But being able to take someone along on the journey, a lot of the time what we'll do is, like we had one recently where the customer was struggling a little bit to visualize. So it was actually a little rise piece. So we actually just made it. We just made a little piece and we let them know that it was basically a pipe cleaner and, paddle pop sticks version of it. But being able to kind of, expand that idea of what digital learning is, just show them, even if it's sketches or, interpretive dance.
Yeah, I think we're exploring more in the prototyping stage in our process, definitely.
Yeah,
so
saves a lot of time in the long run.
Thanks, Christina.
Yeah.
Thank you. We've also had a lot of the audience have been asking if they can get their hands on your questions. They just loved the questions that you used.
Good.
We're just wondering, can they get that on LinkedIn, or is there somewhere where people can get that later?
Well, have we got a treat for you? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to recreate this dialogue in a type form for you guys, so you can have a little bit of a play and you can get all of those questions and responses and those sorts of things as well. There is a debrief at the end that we obviously didn't Gilmore Girls enough to get to, so I'll make sure that gets out to you guys as well, so that you've got that summary. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. That's amazing. Another question was, were there any tips that we missed in the other paths?
We just like Hamilton.
No Hamilton reference in there, was there?
Rewind.
Oh, it was. That's so true. Up front with your learners. You will get these. You'll get all the ones that we didn't. I did like the one about, so it makes me think, so where, we can't upset Jeff, the person who put together the face-to-face. So we can't redesign it because we don't want to undo the work that Jeff's done. We don't want to insult Jeff. But what we generally find is when we're doing a redesign from a face-to-face to a digital is that we just get Jeff involved. Jeff knows that content inside out, and not just the content, he delivers it. So he knows the questions, he knows the activities that resonate, and he can actually be a really valuable tool in interpreting that for an online environment as well. I think that was probably my favorite one.
Yeah, involve them in the process. Don't just dismiss them. Because then you're just assuming how they would react as well.
It's
so,
true.
you know, you just got to ask,
But we'll give you all of the the ones that you didn't get to hear as well, so that you can have those ones.
Yeah.
The zingers.
Awesome. We have a question from Emma. Her question is, we have been quite compliant with our answers, but we know clients aren't like this and often come to us with what they feel is a solution. How do you overcome this?
Oh, what was the last part of that?
But we know clients aren't like this and often come to us with what they feel is a solution. How do you overcome this?
Yeah, I think it is a lot about trying to just take those little steps back and trying to get them to a place where we're actually broadening their view of what digital learning is. So in our space, we work a lot in digital and blended, but like it's being able to kind of try and broaden and crack open their view. Generally, people come to you with a solution because it's the only frame of reference they actually have. So we get asked for a 20-minute, it used to be a 30-minute module all the time. We get asked for a 20-minute module all the time now, because there's this expectation of that's what it is. But I think even in some of these notes, and it might be helpful to even do a little read back there, is that even when I was kind of listing out those elements of, we need something that can be done over time. We need something that people can access. It's like what they're asking for is actually the exact opposite to what they need in terms of those particular steps. So if you can kind of help them get there on the journey, and I agree, Mel was wonderfully flexible throughout that entire thing. I agree. But I also think that what you're doing is you're actually building a relationship along the way, and you're building that trust with them as well. And if you can build that trust, then you're going to be able to have a conversation, and it's less about convincing and it's more about just having a conversation and making sure that they're making right decisions.
And I think this whole exercise has shown by taking a genuine curiosity in what their world is about, you'll uncover all those needs and then be able to expertly advise what you think would be the solution at the end.
Yeah.
So, people can't say wrong no to that most of the time.
Surely.
Thank you.
So much, ladies. We've run out of time for Q&A, but that was absolutely incredible and we're so grateful for your time. Everyone, it's going to be the next session soon, so it's very exciting. But thank you both for joining us at the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.